welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking about something a bit more personal about me. So I've been on YouTube a year now and I'm like, right, it's time to get personal with you guys. So I thought I would share my story about being dyslexic. It's something that wasn't diagnosed until I was about 12 years old. And I didn't actually learn to read and write until I was 13 years old, and I actually managed to teach myself. So I thought I would share my story with you. I'll just start at the very beginning and then at the end I think I'll add in a few bits about how it affects me now as an adult, and some of my coping techniques maybe. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you think of this video, so do leave me a comment down below. I want to warn you now that it will be a very heartfelt video and there is a chance that I will get a bit emotional and teary. So just bear with me, I will try my best to just cut those parts out. Let's go get personal. If you've been watching my channel for a while, this will probably be one of the penny dropping moments, because you will probably noticed in my videos, like my charity shop hauls, when I'm like reading out brands or what DVD I may have bought, I'll be like, oh, I can't read that, it doesn't matter anyway, you know, I'll just skim through it, or like I'll stall, and you must be like, why isn't she reading it, like that's what it says. And you might have wondered, you might not have noticed, I don't know, I try and be like quite bubbly about it. But yeah, now you know, Claire is dyslexic. And one of the things I want to say is, if you are dyslexic, unless you use your brain for like reading and writing, the worse it gets, trust me. Okay, I'm ready. So the best place to really start this story is right at the very beginning. Starting with the nursery that I begun with. It's called the Steiner School, and from like the age of 2 to the age of 7, they believe that children should play rather than be educated, because only a child once and you're going to be in education for a very long time, and the way they see it is that you're just not ready to have to sit down every single day until you're 7 years old. And I think that's quite a sweet way of doing it. It means that you allow your children to be a child for a bit longer, and I think that would have been all well and good if I had stayed at that school. It was a private school, it was quite expensive, and my parents they split up, things just weren't the same. So I moved schools to what I'm going to say normal school, and they've had a few people from Steiner School, so they were used to people being a bit far behind, so they thought, you know, we'll pop her in the class that she should be in and she will catch up. So yeah, I started in primary 3 and it was my first day of school, and when we got into the class, the first thing the teacher did was she gave us our new jotters and whatever, and she said, right, I want you to write about what you did in the summer holidays. And I couldn't read or write, and I just looked around and all these other pupils were like reading and writing. They were really like scribbling down and writing all their words out, and I'm like, oh. You know, I'm like looking over that person's page. Is there any words that I recognise that I can copy? At this point, I only knew how to write my name. Yeah, along the wall there was like ABC, and they had like A for apple. So I thought maybe if I look at here, I could put together a story. But after like 5 minutes of really starting to struggle and panic at the fact everybody's like writing away, and here's me just not doing anything, I had to hold my hand up and say to the teacher, I don't know how to read or write in front of a whole class full of people. After that, I started to get one-on-one help with learning assistants. So after being at that primary school, I didn't pick up much. I knew my numbers, I didn't know things like the months. I couldn't tell you what months were, what their names were and what order they were in. Retaining information was really hard for me, and doing my homework. Anyway, so when I went to high school, I was put in all the bottom classes. The work was really simple. It was mainly just playing games and reading really easy books. At this point, I could somewhat read a little bit. You know, I could read like certain words, but I would get really stuck on quite a lot of words. I had a friend who had like a slight disability, and she had like learning assistants that were always with her, and I was forever asking the learning assistants, like, what does this mean? Can you help me? I don't know how to spell this, I don't understand this, you know. So my head teacher and a few other of the guidance teachers called my parents in for a meeting with me there, and they basically said that Claire is stealing this girl's help and it's inappropriate. And my dad said, right, well, what's she doing? And I was like, well, I don't understand it, so I need some help. And then after that, they finally, after years, gave me a dyslexia test. And it turned out that I was pretty darn dyslexic. And that dyslexia test was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because then they knew what was wrong. And it wasn't that I was stupid and I was starting to label myself. I'm an idiot. That's why I can't do it. Like, they can do it, but I can't, so I must be really, really stupid, you know? And it really, like, took a toll on me. I'm just a child that can't read and write, and like, why me? What's wrong with me, you know? And it was hard, but the dyslexia test helped a lot. They said that you're not stupid, you do have a high IQ and all of that. It's just that you're dyslexic. So after that, they gave me some color overlays, which I still have today. I was also given a laptop that I would type into, and it would come up with the word that I could possibly be wanting, and it would help me put sentences together with grammar. I feel like that helped me, but I didn't use it because I felt so stupid. Everybody's writing on paper and here's me with a laptop, when really I was privileged. I just didn't see it that way back then. So I didn't really use it much, but I didn't feel like that helped me because all it was doing is doing all my work for me. I wasn't actually learning anything from this computer doing it all for me kind of thing. Yeah, I might have been doing some of the typing, but all I had to do was type a few words and the whole sentence was string together. So I'm not learning anything, my dyslexia is not improving, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. Due to a few different reasons, I moved schools. So because I was always not going to school, just because of how much I hated to be at school because I felt so stupid and it's just different. I really, really hated being at school. So I moved schools, and because I'd missed a lot of education, I was like, well, this is a fresh start, you know, I missed a lot of last year, which was S3. Let's just repeat a year so that way I can catch up, do my exams in S4, and then I can leave school happily, knowing that I have repeated my year and my education is to level. So anyway, I was in my English class and I was given some work, and I completed my work in like minutes. I was the first one to do it and nobody else had even really started it. And then I was given another piece of work and I completed that one, and then when I handed that to my teacher, he said, who are you and why are you in my class, kind of thing. And I was like, well, I'm Claire and I've just moved here and I personally have chosen to repeat a year. And he said, you don't need to do that. And I was like, what? He's like, you don't need to do that. I says, no, I want to because I missed a lot of school. And he's like, well, I think you're making a mistake. And God, do I wish I'd listened to him. But anyway, I just continued to be in the same year, but I was put into the highest English class. Now that's all well and good. Because I had always been in the lower English classes, I didn't know how they do things. Like, I wrote an essay. It wasn't amazing or anything, but because there's certain ways that they expect you to write them, I had never learnt these ways. I was unable to stay in the high English class because I didn't know the methods to the madness, you know? So I got moved to the second highest English, which I still struggled with because I obviously couldn't understand how they want me to put my essays together. And there was one English class in particular, which on a Friday, and I had a different teacher that I never had any other time. She did this thing where she wanted us to read the word and guess which ones have too many of the same letter. You know how there's like words that'll have two L's or whatever, two R's? So there was a whole list of them and we had to go through them and write like one, no, that's not spelled correctly, two, that is correct. And then at the end we had to count our results of what we got right and what we got wrong, so shout it out. So I think there was like 150 words. And most people were getting like 100 and whatever. And I read out mine and I'd only got 30 or maybe less correct. And everybody laughed at me. I kid you not, everybody in that class laughed at me like, ha, she got it wrong, you know. I never went back to that English class. I skived every Friday. There was no way you were ever getting me back in that English class. And that was just the lead up to me leaving school, because the sheer embarrassment of that teacher making us say it out loud. I mean, I could have lied, I know, but I was honest. I'm not a very good liar. I can't lie. I've never been able to lie. So I just said the truth and I got laughed at. Even my teacher was like, what? It was really, really hard for me. I wanted to add in that when I was 13 years old, as a birthday present, I think it was, I got an iPhone 4S, which had Siri, and that is when I truly learned to read and write. So I taught myself, so I would write the word how I thought it was, and then I would get Siri, and I would say the word to Siri, and I'd be like, how'd you spell this, or how'd you spell that, and I would use my autocorrect as well, and I would really look at that word, and like pieces of a puzzle, can't spell pieces, I'm really rubbish at putting it together, but my husband helped me see it in another way. I'm still learning it, this was only a few days ago, but you'll see that I'm still very affected by my dyslexia. I wasn't getting much help from my teachers still. It was still like kind of on my own. They had a class of like 30 people, they can't give me the attention, so I taught myself how to read and write using my iPhone, and I practiced really hard, and I must say that it has improved a lot. I was still in the lowest maths class because I feel my dyslexia I think it's called dyscalculia, really affects me the most. I really struggle with maths and adding up. If you show me how to do a sum at least 10 times, I then learn. The minute I'm not doing that technique anymore, I forget it and then I have to relearn it. So I just can't seem to keep it in my head. So as an adult having dyslexia, a lot of the time if I'm going somewhere where I know I'm gonna have to speak or read or write, I'll just be totally honest. I'll be like, look guys, I am dyslexic, so if we're playing a board game with family, like when I first met my husband and he took me to his family's houses, he's got quite a big family, you see, a lot of them were like, hey, let's play board games, and I'm like, yeah, cool, I'm down for that. These are games I've never played before, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't do my adding up. There was this like stop or something game where you had to like add things up, and I'm like, look, I can't do my adding, so one of you that's better than maths can do that for me. You know, I just held my hands up and I said I am dyslexic, and you know what, they're so accepting of that. You know, they're like, yeah, she's dyslexic, that's okay. And I think it's important to own it, because when you play Cards Against Humanity, there's some words in there that I'm like, I don't even know. So my family is quite nice. They're like, if you don't understand it, just put it back in, take another one out. Or I'll like lean over to somebody, what does that say? You know how there's like big elephants can always understand small elephants, spells because. Or there's Glasgow, granny likes a small glass of whiskey. So there's these amazing ways to help it stay in your brain, either if it's a rhyme or if it's looking at the words and seeing a picture with it. Like imagine Al holding ice, and then you can imagine Alice, kind of thing. That's how my dad taught me anyway. These are some of the techniques that I have used, and they definitely have helped me. My dyslexia seems to affect more than just on paper. So it affects the way I say words. Like there's certain words I just can't say properly. For years I couldn't say elderly people. It wouldn't come out. I just could not say it. And then Pacific, apparently I say that wrong as well. It also seems to make me a little bit clumsy and messy, I'd say. And I'm a very big fan of being clean, but for some reason whenever I'm doing something I am very messy, and I don't 100% know for sure if dyslexia can cause clumsiness, but I am so clumsy and there is no other explanation. There's no other explanation. You know what I mean for it. So this next one, I'm not 100% sure if this is to do with dyslexia, but when under extreme pressure or when on a test, my memory goes completely blank and I can't remember anything. Say for instance, right, I've just been on the phone to my doctor and they've said, your appointment is on the 12th at 1 o'clock. If I don't write that down there and then, I won't remember. It's like it just disappears. And then when I really try my hardest to remember what they said, I'm like, did he say 4? You know, I can't keep that information in my head. It's so bad. My memory is really bad. I'm telling you something, right? I can remember things from when I was 2 years old. I can remember being 18 months old. I have memories of like events and things people have said to me, things people may have done to me. I have them. They don't go away. It's just retaining information in my brain. It just doesn't happen for me. After living my life for years thinking that something was wrong with me and that I was stupid because everybody else could read and write, and here Claire was totally unable to, I just feel it's so important to make it an awareness for it, dyslexia awareness, because there's likely to be somebody in your class or somebody at work who suffers from dyslexia. They may stutter, they may have untidy handwriting. Just helping them really does take the edge off. So if you see somebody struggling and they may not have admitted they have dyslexia, or you know, I think you should help people if they're struggling whether they're dyslexic or not. I definitely think there needs to be some sort of dyslexia awareness, because it's a thing and people have it and people suffer from it, and it's okay to make mistakes because you live and you learn from them. Anyway, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing into my life and seeing who I am and part of me. I'd love if you consider subscribing to stick around for more, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!